I'm live. Okay. Hello, everybody. And after you go live, let's see here. We're going to go live on Instagram. Hello, everybody. My name is Shamina Taylor, and I am a wealth and business mentor. And today I have one of my clients, Julie. And Julie was in one of my programs called the Millionaire Club. I decided to do this live series featuring many of the women that have come into my world that are on their way to becoming millionaires, have become millionaires, have really broken through the ceilings of what was possible for them. And I just thought, you can learn from me, but you can also learn from them. So as you're jumping on, I would love you to just say hi, where you're tuning in from. Drop us some love. If you're on Instagram or if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, you're going to learn some stuff here today. So it's not just going to be watching and listening to how great Shamina is or Julie is. You're actually going to tune in and learn about something magnificent. So I'm going to, Julie, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you do, how you found me, and let's start from there really quickly.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Julie Alsacher, and I am the owner of Lex Bioanalytics. What I do is I am a traditional naturopath, and I utilize holistic genetic analysis and functional blood analysis. And that is how I found Shamina, is the doctor who I trained under for functional blood analysis I believe she was already one of your clients, Shamina, if I'm correct. And
Yep.
she was giving her testimonial like on our page, on her own page, and said, hey, I'm going to bring in my business coach. I want you guys to listen to her. And I had already graduated the program, but I was still staying in touch. And so I decided to hop on to watch this because you're beautiful and you're amazing and your energy just called to me. So I watched the video, and it's interesting because one of the things I liked least about my functional blood training was that she kept trying to tell us how to make money. Right. She kept saying, well, if you do this, you'll be able to make more money. And I kept thinking this should only be about healing people. Stop being about money. And I remember calling my mom and saying, this program is great, right? The functional blood analysis is so effective, so good. But I'm so mad that this lady keeps talking about making money. And then you came on and started talking about unapologetically making money. And I went, oh, we're not supposed to feel bad about making money, because I had been serving people everywhere from back when 20 years ago when I was a nutritionist, right? I didn't have all the accolades I have now, just a nutritionist and doing health coaching for free for decades, because I thought helping people for money was greedy.
Yeah, I remember you saying, I love poor people. Like she was like, I love poor people. I'm like, we can love them, but you need to start making some money. And like, I really had to rewire Julie to be into like, it was okay to charge for her services and it was okay to make money for the work that she did. Because when she joined us, Julie, how much were you making a month when you joined us?
I would make whatever my husband said we needed to make, and I only made it through interpreting. So if Bri said, babe, we need 1,000 this month, I make 1,000. If it was 4,000, it was 4,000. That was usually the max because I just didn't want to work that much. And so I made what I made through interpreting. I did not charge for my health expertise. I didn't charge friends for it. I would spend dozens, if not hundreds of hours helping someone heal, and I did not charge for it. So I was starting to burn out.
Absolutely. And then when you started working, after you saw that live training, what hit you? Because you had one massive win from there, but then we have this story about this garbage can. And I think it's so far removed from where Julie was. The reason why I think it's so important that people realize is they don't realize that they're duct taping their business and their money, and that they're lacking, like, even though, like Julie would say, her life was amazing when she came to work with me. Like, she didn't think anything was wrong. And she had no idea that she was living in the lack because it was just something that she was doing. So just share with us quickly about that.
About the garbage can?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
So I was brought up very happy, right? So like you said, I wasn't living unhappily. But the idea of, I thought there was scarcity mindset or fixed mindset and growth mindset. I did not know abundant mindset existed. So here I have this broken trash can for 10 months. I'm using a wine bottle from a dinner party to keep the lid that flips up and down, to keep it down for 10 months. Anytime I need to throw away trash, me or my children, my little children are lifting up a wine bottle, throwing away their trash. Oh, for the
I mean,
love.
how many of you have done that where you've like, instead of go to fix the thing, you actually was, doing something that you were working really hard to make the thing work instead of just buying something new because the thought of spending money on it was like a waste, right?
Well, and the kicker was, it's not that we didn't have the money. My
right.
goodness, it's
That's the worst part. Yeah.
It's a trash can. We could replace that. And that really is probably the biggest thing I took from that free webinar that you did. The biggest thing I took away was that I had a problem. I had a problem. Here I am with this enlightenment for health, right? I see the blocks that people have mentally with their belief in how healthy they can be. And here I had this massive block on how wealthy I could be. I didn't even think it was a problem. And it's not that I was going to go through life having a bad life. It's I could have better. I could have better. And I wasn't costing anyone anything. I wasn't hurting somebody else by spending the money to go get a new trash can. I didn't have to go, but there's starving children in Africa. Who am I to spend my money on a new trash can when they don't even have a trash can? That's literally where my brain would go.
Right. And so then after you joined, you started getting into that wealthy woman vibes and started her daughter's birthday came up, and then Julie's like, I'm going to do exactly what Shamina says. So what did you start doing, Julie? And I want you guys to hear this, like, stay tuned, because her results were ridiculous. Like, they were ridiculous, and they're still ridiculous. It's still paying off for her right now from that work that she's done. And she's going to give you her biggest takeaway. So keep going. Well, let me just ask Julie, after seeing the trash can and then going to replace it, and then tell them about your daughter, just give them tell them that story first.
Okay. So for baby, I'm in a meeting. I'll be out. Ask your dad. I love you. Bye.
We're moms.
We're moms working from a home office, which I love. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. That speaking of my daughter Jasmine, it was her 16th birthday, and she had wanted to do something bougie. And our birthdays had been, up until that point, if we had a party, it was in the basement of the local college for their bowling alley. You could have up to something like 40 people for like $40. That's what we did for birthdays, is we bowled in the basement. And I wouldn't let us eat their food because it's terrible. So we would just like have water. It was a thing, right? And we all are happy, right? But I took her and some of her closest friends to a super nice restaurant up in the cities. We drove an hour. We all got dressed up. She had a little crown that said birthday girl with all the bling. And I dropped $700 on a meal. $700. And it's not, for me, it's not the price. It was the willingness. It was knowing that, number one, my service is of high value. I'm not expensive. I'm of high value.
Right, premium.
And so I wasn't being greedy by charging my value. I am getting results because people recognize the value. And I can take all the benefit that I'm getting from charging my value to bless the crap out of my family, to bless the crap out of my friends, to bless the crap out of me. I never used to do that. And so I say this every time, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. The money is great. It's a tool. It's something you get to use and have fun with. It's not about the money. You will not recognize who you are because you will have an identity shift.
Absolutely.
And that identity shift is it is an awareness that you can be more.
I love that. So that's what we go through. We have to do an identity shift so you can see the world through a different lens, because you saw it as like charging for your services is greedy, or, you should give it away for free. You lived very meagerly. I mean, on one of our other calls, Julie shared that she was shopping at Goodwill because that's just kind of where she was. And then her Christmas party came around and she's like, went and got herself some fancy shoes that were just adored by everybody. Not something she would always do. And the reason why I say this is a lot of women who are successful, women who are starting out, they don't realize that their desires run everything, and how you look and feel about money is how it'll reflect in your business. So Julie, tell us some like massive wins after you started implementing this work. And I know there was some hard parts that you had to go through with me, and but Julie was always on every call, dressed to the nines on every call. She listened, took the feedback, even when it was, she was just like, "Ugh." She was like, no, Shamina is me, but with what I do, is what she would say. She's like, she had, right?
Yeah, the way you are, because I am so, I will go to the grave believing to the core that what I do is exceptional. I know what I know, and it is life changing. And I see that you are the same way with wealth. The way that I am with health, you're that way with wealth. So I knew, give up control and listen to the person that knows that she knows that she knows. And the reason the results have been so fast is because I just do what you say, right? I When people get fast results with me, it's because they do what I say. So show up to the calls, do what your mentor says to do, because they know what they're talking about. And one of the biggest things I did is, instead of charging, I had just started, when I started a new program, just started charging a couple $100 for my ridiculously effective service. I threw a zero on the end, and now I've 10 times it.
Let's go.
Right? So the minimum investment to have my time is over $6,000. Now, in my environment, central Minnesota, it is there was a lot of pushback. So this is a tip that I'll give you all. The circles that you're in, if you hear the word, well, that's expensive, you gotta kick it. You gotta kick it. You are not expensive. You are of high value. And if people cannot recognize it, then they are not seeing that you're a valuable person. And you
That's
don't
right.
want to be around people that don't see you as valuable.
That's
You
right.
are valuable, and your circles might change.
And I wanted to put a disclaimer when Julie's going to share how much wealth she's made. This is not for everybody, because Julie came in prepared to do the work, and it just varies on how people show up and do the work and how they go and what kind of business they're running. But I mean, right from the jump, you can tell them too, like after watching that free webinar that we did, she went and sold a $35,000.
Yeah.
Right? You can explain to them what happened, and then tell them like your income that you've been doing since. I mean, you were at their in-person event in Chicago. Anyways, I want to let you talk.
I'll be honest, it's up and down. And
Yeah.
I understand now emotionally why it's up and down, because it's going to go with your emotions. So I finished that. I joined that training. I was doing that training, and I sold a $35,000 package. It was awesome. The client got incredible results. And that was through a company that was actually covering, because it was for a couple people. It was just a massive win for them. And then I started working primarily with that company. And then that company cut off all natural healers. They're only doing mainstream medicine. So here I go. And this was right when I was at the Chicago event, right? I had 70,000 outstanding for the month. You guys, I didn't make 70,000 in a year. And here I had it outstanding for the month. And I was there. I'm like,
Where did you go after that though? Didn't you just fly somewhere and you had $1 million?
yeah, well, I flew all over the place. But the thing that happened is they cut that off. And then I had to basically start over, because those were my clients. And now that company was no longer doing that service. And this is where, if I hadn't had this work, I would have just been crying in the corner. Oh my God, they didn't pay their invoice. What am I going to do? It just wasn't that. It was like, okay, next thing. So I have a collaborative that I'm working with. I think after Chicago, I was in New York. And then before that, I was in Pittsburgh. Then I went out to Lake Tahoe. Then I was in California somewhere for a book signing at Barnes and Nobles. And then I don't even remember. And you guys, I'm not on Spirit with a personal bag. I'm on Delta with checked baggage in the lounge. I mean, it's night and day compared to how I used to just do the bare minimum for myself. And now it is starting to snowball again. And now I actually collaborated. I just connected with a physician who works with professional football teams. And actually, I'm now connected with a lot of professional football players. And right now, it's just starting to network, right? This is what you do when you believe you belong in the room. They didn't know who I was 2 weeks ago. And now I'm getting into these rooms. And I actually have a meeting that is being decided to meet with not a physician of an NFL team, but with the NFL team itself.
Let's
Because
go.
they don't have their own crazy natural lady, and they're missing out
Yes, they
because
are.
they need one. They
That's
need one,
right.
especially one that's a specialist in genetics and blood work. So I belong in that room. I don't go, oh, I'm not a doctor.
Let's talk about this though, because that was a big pushy on you. I did so just explain to them, because she's saying something, because I was like, one time we were on a video call and Julie had all her stuff in the background. And I remember having another client that was like that. She was a lawyer and she had all the accolades. And I was like, Julie, you don't need all the shit. And so Julie's like, what are you talking about? That's all that shit. Me, like, I need that shit. And it was just like, when we started really getting to the bottom of it, it was like her unworthiness. It was like, can I still do this work that I do if I'm not an MD? And so that was like a really big deal for her. And when she realized, and she had a core wound that we had to bring up that was with her. I'm not going to go into all the details, but with somebody, and then a particular person, and then she was able to overcome it. And then she realized, no, like all her unworthiness and worthiness was tied into that. And then when I just kept going like this to it, or this, or whatever you want to say, I mean, you can share the rest. I mean, Julie was like,
which I appreciate. No, seriously, you coached me by addressing something I had shoved away for a long time and maybe didn't even realize was fully there. And that coaching, I got off. I called my parents, eyes bawling. I was bawling my eyes out, and I'm like, she's so mean, and I don't even know why I'm in this. And I mean, I was wrecked. I was wrecked. And then when I got over being a crybaby about it, because I had to, process, I went,
yeah, definitely.
oh my goodness, she's right. Oh, I was so pissed. Excuse my language. I was so pissed when I realized that after I got all mad, and then I went, everything she said was right, of course. And I got out of I like to call it primitives and ambassadors. So I got out of my emotion and into my logic to be able to be aware of what you were saying. And I went, oh my word. Of course. And I moved all of my diplomas and certificates and everything, because I'm not a doctor, and I get to do what I do because I'm not a doctor. I get to have my clients Marco Polo me every day and be like, my second toe hurts, or my poop is a weird color. And I get to be like, all right, tell me about it. Let's chat. And hey, how was your daughter's birthday party? And I get to have concierge level connection with them, and a personal connection, because I am not confined by a clinic or by a hospital. And then we get to, my clients just become my friends, and I love it. And I get to do that because I'm not a doctor.
Julie couldn't see what I could see, and that's why you hire mentors, so they can see things. And I knew that she was creating a limit for her income, for her success, for her power, for the rooms that she got to go in. Julie also, she retired her husband in this whole process. And I think the story behind that is actually pretty incredible, of why you wanted to retire him. And I don't always love when women say they retire their husbands, but it was like, he doesn't have to work now because she's making money. And can you tell them what your husband does, and like why it was important for you to, bring him home?
So my husband was working as a firefighter. He had been a firefighter for 10 years, and it was not a positive environment. In addition to the fact that it's hard work, that they're up, 24 hours straight. And if he was on a 48 or 72, he was coming home and his health was trashed. I mean, we all know this is kind of general. All the masses know that sleep is number one for health. And he was not getting sleep. And on the days where he was home, he wasn't getting sleep. And I had his blood work, and I had his genes. And he was going to die. He was going to die. Like, I can confidently say, I believe he would have died of a heart attack within years. within 2 to 3 years. He was not going to make it. His blood work was such garbage.
Wow.
And I can only, you can only supplement so much, right? We don't want to replace prescriptions with supplements. He needed a lifestyle change, and he could not have that with that type of schedule, with that type of stress, with going and responding to terrible car accidents where people are dead, or pulling people out of burning buildings, or when a bad batch of drugs came to town, he would come home in the morning and I'd say, well, how many bodies did you have? How many people were you able to bring back? He couldn't, his health could not manage that anymore. And so it was, for me, being able to retire him was incredible. And part of that was because of what we had saved to be able to make that transition until things, were really solid. And it's interesting. I was so excited about retiring him. And then because we talk about the feminine and the masculine, and you guys will learn about this when you go into Shamina's world, we've learned over the course of time that he needs to have a job.
Or something. Yeah.
Something. There has to be something. And it turns out that he's a math whiz, and he loves charts, and he's actually going into finance right now. And he's getting certifications and things like that. He's like, you're making all the money. I will learn how to grow the money.
Let's go. Let's go.
Now we're this health and wealth team, and it's fantastic because he's stepping out of this job that was killing him into something that just lights him up. I told him if he shows me another set of the charts from the stock market, I'm like, I'm going to start showing you pictures of parasites, because I don't even want to see it. I don't understand it. So just stop. I'm so excited that you're happy though.
So tell me this, like looking back at how amazing, this is like a year, it's been a year that Julie has entered, a year and a bit, Julie's entered her world, and she's off on her own now. She's completed the program. And you came to Chicago. That was kind of like the finale of it all, being with us. What did you think about our event in Chicago, the Wealth Consciousness event?
Well, I loved it because, I love everything you do because you do it well. You're not going to show up to something and be disappointed. Let's just put it that way. So it was really good. And it's always interesting how when you remove one blind spot, there's still another. And I brought my daughter. So y'all, I'm going to tell you this story, right? So my daughter's and she's 17 at the event. And Shamina had asked about, well, are any of you not angry? And I'm like, not me. And Jazz is like, yeah, you are. And she's not quiet about it either. I'm going, I'm not angry. I don't get angry. And then she was able to be like, well, what about that? And I'm like, well, that's because, the kitchen didn't get cleaned or whatever. And she mentioned a person in my life that I have boundaries with. Well, what about when you have to see this person? And I went, oh my word, I still have issues. I still have things I need to work through. And so that's what Chicago did for me. It was just like, all right, you haven't arrived yet. Let's just say
you're growing still. Yeah.
Growing still. Yeah. Yes.
Which is good.
There's no growth.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap this up, but I wanted to say, Julie, give them some first question I want to tell you is for you to tell them is like 3 things you took away from taking ATQ, the Millionaire Club, like some major takeaways that you still practice now. And then where would you be had you not joined the program in your life? I would to start with the first one. I want you guys to get some takeaways because my people go through these programs and they're literally taking the teachings and they're putting it in their courses, and they're talking to their clients. Their businesses have improved. Like your business has just catapulted and like quantum leaped into like ridiculousness, which is so amazing. And just look at you where you are right now. Your husband's life has changed. I just want to hear the good stuff. Like 3 things take away. Yeah.
All right. Takeaway number 1 is it's not about money. It's about, for me, I'll just do my takeaways. It was emotion. It was dealing with core wounds. It was learning what the core wounds were, learning that they are directly tied to how I interact and have a relationship with money.
Yep.
And that you don't know what you don't know. And this is why you hire a mentor. If you are at the top of your game with money, okay, then maybe you need a mentor in another area. I was at the top of my game in health and in relationship with my kids and my family. I was not at the top of my game with money. We were getting by and it was okay. It was okay.
And now how do you feel about, Well, now you know it's not about money, but it's still okay to want money, right? You don't feel that.
Yes.
Now you get to be unapologetically wealthy, and like you can have the things that you want. All right,
Yes.
where would you be right now if you had not joined the program? Where would Julie be?
I would be in the same place, which would be I'm oh my goodness. Okay. It gets me choked up about because I think about the clients that I've had over the last year. They wouldn't have known I existed because I would still be lifting the bottle off the wine bottle off the trash. I wouldn't have been present and visible on social media. I wouldn't have been out there networking in these rooms. They wouldn't have known I exist because my core wounds would have kept me small. And so I wouldn't have been having the impact that I have. My family wouldn't have a belief that there's more is coming, right? They
That's
wouldn't
right.
have that that lack of fear of the future, right? You don't have to fear the future when you know more is coming.
That's right.
So we would have just stayed the same. And some people choose that. And I'm so grateful that I didn't choose that. Because why stay the same when better is available?
You jumped in, and this is like not normal. Julie's not our norm but you know, she was like, I am going to join this program no matter what. Like, I'm going to find the money. And she did. And she joined the program. And it was just remarkable of how she did it because she believed in herself. She was investing in herself, not just me. So, okay, if someone is thinking about working with us, what would you tell them? And you were in the Millionaire Club, not the Wealthy CEO, or the Mastermind. But if someone was thinking about joining the Millionaire Club and wanted to, you know, reframe and rewire their neural pathways, and also really, it's like we help you heal your. Oh, wait, what happened there? Wait, I don't know what happened there. We help you with somatic healing in some of the programs. Are you still there, Julie? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
So we help your nervous system rewire, and you get to be safe with money. It becomes a different environment. So if someone's thinking about joining, what would you tell them? Like, or deciding, or like debating, like, will it work for me? What would you tell them why it would work for them?
It's going to work if you are a person that wants more. That's it. If you are thrilled, not happy, not satisfied, if you are thrilled beyond belief with where you are right now, okay. If you want more, then you need to seek more. And that is what you get when you hire a mentor that shows you how to find it.
That's right.
Here's a question. If you, and I'm talking to y'all people out in the universe here, if you are asked to write down what you desire and it does not flow, you got to join the program.
Hey, let's go.
I have a blank page for weeks going, I'm allowed to desire. Wait, that doesn't make me bad. If you can't write down 30 things like this is for you.
Right. Isn't it crazy how women they think they want the beach house and all these things, but they actually not connected to their desires? Because I know why, and we figure it out through that feminine and masculine energy, and then the work that I do. Hey, everybody, if you have not got Unlocking the Quantum Woman, you should go grab this book. Let's go. Hey. Julie's read it. She loves it. And if you have not joined our listen to our podcast, Unapologetically Rich, go ahead and do that. For those of you watching on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe and leave us a comment on this video. Those of you on Instagram, we're so happy that you joined us. Leave us a comment. We have a 3-day masterclass coming up, highest cash months. You will start having your highest cash months. Julie, any last words for everybody? Just go ahead, share.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me on today. And if anybody has any questions, seriously, if you're like, oh, is Shamina right for me? Message me, DM me. It's just my name, Julie Allsoccer.
How they can find you, Julie? How they can find you? Where can they find you?
My social media everything is Julie.Allsoccer. It's just my name. Look me up, and I'd be happy to support you in your journey of more.
She's a woman who is now in abundance. So let's go. All right. Thank you so much, Julie. All right. Bye, everybody. Take care. Bye, honey. See you.